you know. And so you are going to the Garden of Eden, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the Bible says that in that place, their gold was the best. And you know that the best gold comes from South Africa and from Ghana, you know. And also in the Garden of Eden, according to Moses' account, there was this 4 rivers that parted from that area. The Gihon and the Pishon, and then the Euphrates and the Tigris.
Yes.
You know, but right now, because of we cannot write our own history, and people have been writing our own history for us, you know, Pishon and Gihon has been erased.
Absolutely.
And now Garden of Eden is said to be in Iraq and in Turkey. But what about the 2 rivers, which is right now called the White Nile and the Blue Nile? That's the place you go in.
Yes, and I must admit, I am so open to wanting to know the truth.
Exactly.
There has been so much that has been
Hidden.
taught and hidden, and I want to know what the truth is.
Exactly.
And so I want to go and live among my people and learn from there.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Jesus said that, you know, you shall know the truth and the truth will make you free.
Absolutely.
You know, some people say the truth shall set you free. It's not going to set you free. It's going to make you free.
Make you free.
For example, you are from Mississippi. When the slavery was abolished, you know, there were some people that were still enslaved.
That is correct.
They were not set free. Why? Because they didn't know the truth.
That they believed something that already existed from slavery. They believed that that was the life.
Exactly.
And so it took some mind work and it took some working on them. It took some God within them to work through their souls to help them to understand that there was something better.
Yeah. So the ones that knew the truth started living to the north.
Absolutely.
Because there was freedom there. So, you know, truth will not set you free, but truth will make you free. So as you go in there, you're going to see the truth. And, you know, I will always have a problem when people paint Jesus Christ as a Caucasian.
Right.
I always have a problem with it.
I do too.
Yeah. Oh, you do too?
Wow. I do too. Wow.
You know, in Numbers chapter 6, God told Moses to tell the Hebrews, because they were not Jews, they were Hebrews, and the Hebrew community comprises of blacks. Remember, Moses' wife was a black from Africa.
Absolutely.
You know, and people don't even tell the truth about when Abraham married an African. They always talk about Sarah, but after Sarah died, Moses married Keturah.
Yes.
Had about 6 children, 6 boys with Abraham. But people, it's not mentioned. I've never been to any church that teaches this.
Absolutely.
Why are they hiding it? Because they know what we have, and they can never take it away from us. You know, but it is until we know the truth.
Absolutely.
You know, so as you go in, I tell you what, Jesus was a black man. I mean, a brown, yeah, a black man, let me say, because Jesus was a Nazarite.
Yes.
Well, not that he was born, not because he was born in Nazareth, but he was a Nazarite. Because God told Moses specifically to tell the Hebrews that any one of you that want to separate himself to be holy unto me, let him not shave, not any sharp thing come to his head,
right,
and his beard. All the days that he is separating himself to be holy unto God, he should not drink vinegar or anything that have the grape and vinegar in it.
That's right. Sure.
And that no razor should touch the hair. You leave your hair and it will become locks.
Right.
Let me ask this question. Which people can leave their hairs untouched and it will automatically or naturally turn to locks?
Black people.
Exactly. So you look at Ezekiel, you look at Isaiah, you look at Moses, you look at all these prophets that have come and gone. All of them wore dreadlocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And these are the people that God used. God used we the black people, but because of ignorance, you know, we have thought that we have no part to play in God's work on this earth. But God used us most to accomplish his work on this earth. And in the New Testament, Jesus was a Nazarite. Because in the book, in the Numbers, what I'm talking about, the separation, they were called Nazarites.
Yes.
Nazarites. That was why when Jesus came, he took all his disciples from Galilee.
Okay.
Because that part where the black people were living, mostly because they were fishermen.
Okay.
So Peter, all of them, they wore dreadlocks.
Absolutely.
Paul was a Nazarite, because when you read the book of Acts, Paul was leaving a city and he has to shave his hair. Why? The Bible will tell you that because of a vow that he has taken. It was the vow of the Nazarite.
The Nazarite.
Yeah, and even when you continue reading, when Paul was set before Agrippa, and these people have come from Jerusalem to accuse him. You know what they said? They said, King Agrippa, we have found this man as a pestilent fellow, a seductive man who belongs to the sect of the Nazarites.
Wow.
He's a ringleader of the Nazarite sect. And Paul was a follower of Christ. So if he is a ringleader of Jesus' sect,
yes,
then that means he is a Nazarite, and Jesus is a Nazarite.
Yes.
So I want the listeners to know that we, the blacks, we are not just betrothing, people that have been thrown out or whatever that are being speculated or are being taught, but we are the people that God chose to show his power and for us to know him. I remember in Ghana, in Ashanti, I told you before that we were warriors.
Yeah.
Ashanti, the Akan clan, they were warriors. They fought. Even they fought the white man until the 1900s before they were able to penetrate to our jungle. We were fighters. And one of our kings that came up and was able to bring all the Akans together to become the Ashanti Confederation.
Okay.
His name is Osei Tutu. This man had a prophet, and he wore these dreadlocks. The old Israelites, whenever, like King David, he had his prophet. If he wants to go to
yes,
war,
absolutely,
he will bring the effort, and he will seek God, and God will talk to him and say, tell him to move ahead, or tell him to wait. Exactly. We had some too, but the ignorance that I've been talking about is that these people didn't know, could not recognize where these powers come from. So they were attributing it to rivers and mountains and trees, and that was what God was angry with us. But this Konfanoche, we call him Konfanoche.
yes,
He was the one that led the Ashantis and the king of Osetutu to fight wars and win battles. He would tell Osetutu, don't go to war today. Or that's what my God is saying.
absolutely.
And they will not
God's
go.
word.
He said, go use this word as God was directing David to do. And I tell you what, we Africans, we have the heart of God. We'll be right back and have Leroy, Kwame, Frazier with me here. And let's take a short break. And
yes, I have a very industrious cousin who did the research, and he was able to get one of our older relatives to do DNA testing. And the DNA testing connected us back to Ghana, the Akan, with 99.9% accuracy. And so we knew we were in the right place.
Exactly. I tell you what, technology, is now what is going on this way. Please don't, when I hear people saying that all these computers are the work of the, how do you call it, the Antichrist and all this thing, I tell them, brothers, don't just be deceived, because the Bible says that don't be deceived, and you don't deceive yourself. As I told you, God created us and gave us his own mind.
That's right.
And everything that God created were thoughts that were in him. The things that he was thinking of, and then he became outspoken and he said, let there be, and it came.
That's right.
Exactly. So all these things that we are seeing were things that God spoke and they came to be. And he has given us this mind. And I'm telling you that we have not even used an iota of this mind of God that is in us. So new things and are going to come out. Inventions are going to come out. We need to utilize them and not pushing them or appropriate them to the Antichrist. And that is why we, I'm sorry to say, but excuse me, that we the blacks, we are always falling behind. Why? Because we are not using the mind that God gave to us.
That's right.
Properly.
Absolutely.
Divine,
infinite mind we have access to. And that infinite power that you talked about. We can accomplish much more if we tune into God and to listen to Him and knowing that He's already in our presence, but just acknowledging His presence and utilizing what He has provided for us. And going back to that DNA testing, God actually planted some inner human technology, and that was that DNA. That was able to connect His people from whatever number of years, and just knowing this now, even though this was separated and hidden from me all of these years, but it was always there that God had planted it. And now I know my people. Yeah,
now you know your people. I know you're excited, and we are also excited. How can we be able to let our African American brothers and sisters to have this acknowledgement and try to look from where they come from? What are some of the things that you think that we can do to help? Because it's good to know where you come from.
Well, I think the first thing is to start asking questions.
Exactly.
Start asking, a lot of times for African Americans, they ask their grandmother, the grandmother don't know, the great-grandmother don't know, but if they keep asking and then go resort to DNA testing, it has a way of letting them know exactly where the people come from. And once they connect, and then connect to that culture, but it's all about beginning to ask questions, to begin to recognize that there is something that is missing, that there are a lot of races of people that know who their lineages are, where their lineages come from. So it's time for us.
Exactly. It's time for us. This is our time. Black men, let us rise up. And one thing that I have noticed, even when I was young, growing up, and I've been talking about it, preaching about it, is that how we, the black folks, have allowed people to plant what you call distrust among us. Distrust is stronger than trust.
That's right.
And it has been planted among the black folks, not only in America, but even in the motherland, so we not being able to come together to accomplish anything. But